Hey YouTube, Awesome Rider here. Welcome to my review for Gozyuger 31. If you didn't watch my review for Zets this week, how dare you? Get out. We'll wait. Door's right there. Oh, sorry. It's right there. No, just kidding. The door's actually here. I think can you see it in frame? Gozyuger 31. I'm doing this a little bit differently. You can see my face again. I apologize about that. I felt like doing it classic today, kicking it old school. And I'm doing a little bit different format. I'm doing pros and cons or positives and negatives rather than just doing a play-by-play of the episode. So, pros. Something I've said, unfortunately too many times, this was good by Gozyuger standards. There was more going on, there was more developments, there was a nice little kind of cliffhanger or lead into the next episode. You know, I think that it was really cool to bring back the stuff with Ryuugi's family, which to be honest with you, I completely forgot about because so much nothing has happened between now and then that I forgot about that plot point. Like, I feel like we only talked about it when we first did the character focus on him where we learned about it. And then it feels like since then his entire character has just been about Tegasword worship, including when he was like in the dream world stuff and whatever. And even when he left, it was all about his worship of Tegasword. They didn't bring up his family or anything. So I thought it was interesting to bring up that dynamic, but it felt like, again, it was over too soon. Ideally, I would have loved for this to have been a couple episodes. Have the episode where we introduce Kamen Rider Legend to the team, have him be Goju Yellow for an episode, and then have an episode that's like 60% because it would entail the action, the Gozyugers with their new yellow, just to have fun with that, and then the other 40% is him at the hospital or whatever, and explore this dynamic of his family and his expectations and flesh out his character. Because as nice as it was that we brought that back, I felt like this wasn't really, it was kind of a nothing burger, to be honest. Like, it felt like he's just restating his motivation. Now, that's fine. There's movies and shows that do that, where a character loses their way and they need to be reminded of their goals. But I'm so invested in this that it just didn't feel like, yes, he's back to who he is. And I feel like we've learned so little about them. It feels like a waste to spend this character time with them, restating their motivation, especially when you bring in the element of the dad and the legacy. I felt like this could have been something more. Like, it was overall nice, but it could have been something more. But I do like that they brought that back. I think the scene when they're in the hallway and the dad becomes a no-one, which again I think is wasted on, oh my god, his dad's a no-one, and then we're playing a silly game and it's over. It's like, that could have been so cool. I wish that we did the sillier no-one games for just filler, and then when we did a no-one that's supposed to be serious because it's like his dad or somebody else underneath or a serious threat, the games were just a little bit more serious. I hate to sound like those people that are like, I want it to be serious for adults, but I'm like, can this show just please be cool? Just once. Can you just once be cool? Just in terms of so much potential. That's my frustration. Anyway, that was cool. Like when his dad was the no-one, they're in the hospital, you got Ryuugi there, and then you have Rei showing up, transforming into Goju Yellow. It's overall really cool that we got two people taking up the mantle. They definitely did a good job with the specific body language for him. And then that was a cool moment because Blue recognized him, and then I was like, oh my god, is something about to happen? Are we gonna get a revelation? And we didn't, and I was disappointed. I'm like, oh, adding this to the negatives. But then at the end, it did lead to something which was nice. But I just couldn't help but feel like this should feel like a bigger moment. Like in any other series, this would be an episode where it was all about plot, we weren't doing silly stuff, and we were locked into the character and story stuff. I'm not saying it was bad, I'm just saying it was good for Gozyuger standards, and that was kind of about it. Also, in the positives, I thought it was cool when you had the final, not the final formation, I was gonna say final fight with Yellow and his mecha, and you get the formation with Daijujin, Zord Builder stuff. That's cool because it makes sense. It definitely feels like the, hey, here's the Toys Kids moment when Goju Polar literally is like, boom, advertisement. But it was still kind of a cool scene there. Overall, I thought it was, yet again by saying this, Gozyuger standards, a solid episode. But my main negatives just come from, I think there was so much potential with this arc, with the different person being Goju Yellow, Rei being Goju Yellow, Ryugi's character development. Like I said, it wasn't like it was bad. I think the scenes were good when he transformed again, but just restating his motivation and him refining his motivation from why he was there in the first place, we don't learn anything new. I feel like if we had learned more about his past and the dynamic with his family and all that stuff and gotten to know him more, or if we had spent more time with him where he has changed since we've known him, then an episode where you have him reaffirming his goals because he's lost his way would be fine. But the fact that we know so little about these people and the focus we get on them is them like just restating what we already know, feels like we're just treading water. And Reds was a little bit different when he left because he was so worried about like, I don't have a motivation, and he still doesn't. But when he came back, he was like, you know, if I'm going to be #1 at something, I'll be a #1 loser or whatever. At least felt like he found a new resolve, but that still felt similar. It felt like it didn't even need to happen. It felt like it didn't add any value to the series, other than the fact that it's something more interesting happening than just a dumb no-one battle. I do really like, though, that we have Sumino, like, connecting the dots between Blue and Ray, and I think that's really interesting, because I was ready to be really frustrated because I'm like, this is a huge moment. Like, this hallway scene with the dad and Ray showing up could have been a huge reveal, and I was like, they're really letting this go. And then at the end, it's going to lead to something. I hope it's a little bit more entertaining than what we've been getting, and like even better than this arc, but I think that was a good development. I'm glad that they capitalized on that. Last thing, something that isn't necessarily a negative, but I forget about this family that owns the restaurant every time I see them. They're like the Silence. I forget about them when I'm not looking at them. Some of the weirdest inclusions of side characters in terms of when you see the press conference and they're like, this person owns the cafe or whatever. They're not always going to be a major player, but usually when they're in that, they're like a part of the series where you think of it as a part of the ecosystem, but they're like never around. Like, why do we even need them? And in a way, it kind of reminds me of, in a different way, but I don't remember the name of the character from Gotthard that I'm like, well, he doesn't need to be here. We have too many characters. Like, he would just show up and like, I forgot you were here. Like, what are you doing here? But anyway, I hate to feel like I'm giving the same conclusion every week, but every week it just feels like, you know, that was okay by Gozyuger standards. I wish this show was better because there's so much potential. It feels like every week almost there's a list of potential, whether it's for the series overall or this episode, that I'm like, this could have been even better if this show was good. But what did you guys think of the episode? Let me know in the comments as always. Till next time, Dawson Ryder, signing out.